Alright guys, welcome back, and in this video I'm going to talk to you guys about another kind of arrays that is available in Python called sets. Now sets is an interesting concept which is pretty much similar to the sets that we deal in mathematics, right? What's a set of elements? That elements that are well defined and you can group them together and all of that. And when you have sets in mathematics, you can do unions, intersections and all kinds of stuff, right? Turns out you can do the exact same thing in Python, right? And I'm going to tell you guys how you can do that in this video right now. Alright, so let's get started. Alright, first things first, how do you define a set? In this program we'll talk about the basics of set, and then we'll go with some examples and see how it works. First things first, how do you create a set? That's easy. All you have to do is give a name as just like in any other list, and here's the catch. List, you use square brackets. In tuples you use normal brackets. In lists, in sets, you use curly brackets, and that's how you go about with it. And this is very similar to how you write sets in normal mathematics terms, right? So let's create a set of numbers between 1 to 10. So I'm just going to hard code these numbers for now. In a later video, we'll actually see some functions that are available in Python that can generate number sequences like this, or just by giving the inputs. That's about it. Anyway, that's fine. So this is a set. This is how you create a set. If you want to print it out, you can just say print numbers, and you can also print the type of it, just for sure, numbers, and there you go. And when you run this, check this out. You have the set, and notice the curly brackets around it, and you have a class called set, and there we go. Suppose, let's say you have a set of numbers like this, right, as a list or a tuple or something. And if you want to convert this into a set, let's say list 1 is actually a simple list. Let's say you want to convert this into you know what, never mind, let me do something different. Let's say you have a list of even numbers between 0 and leave 0. Then you can write the list to be like this, and I press the insert key, I suppose. Alright, right, list of even numbers like this, and you have a tuple 1, which is actually a list of odd, which is actually a set of odd numbers. So 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9. I have like this, let's say. And if you want to convert these into sets, let's say, it's pretty easy. All you have to do is just type create a variable, and my typing is terrible for now. Happens when you're trying to make a video at 2 o'clock in the night. Anyway, and then what you do, just pass in the list, and that's it. Likewise, if you have a tuple, all you have to do is give a name. And pass it in like this, and there you go. Now once you do this, you have you can use you can convert any list or a tuple into a set like this. So you can just say that list and tuple to set conversion. Alright, that's about that. And if you want to print them out, it's fairly simple. We can just say even, and then just for 1, that I think this is more than enough to get an idea. And there you go. Now this becomes a set like that. Cool. Now what we'll do, I'll just comment out these lines for now, and then what I'm going to do is going to talk to you guys about accessing entries in a list. Accessing entries in this set. And let's see, if I want to print out some values like 1, 2, 3, 4 and all of that, let's see how you can print it out. If I were to print, I can use numbers and print everything, but if I were to print out particular values, say like this 5, if I were to use the index notation, I would say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I want to print this value 5 in it, okay, I have to give, if I tried in index notation for like this, Check it out. It says type error, set object is not subscriptable. Now that's something interesting. Lists and tuples so far have some kind of indices, right? Wherein they have some numbers, you can use numbers and indices to fetch those particular data. Whereas sets do not have the concept of indices like that, right? So what you have to do is that if you want to access any particular value of it, you have to call that value explicitly, right? So how do you go about with it is that first you have to check if that particular value exists. So for that you can use that in operator that is available. Okay, so it's called check if an entry is in a set. How do you do that? First what you do is you can just check it out if it's available. So for that what you do, take an entry that you might think that is available. Let's say for sake of an argument that 7 is, you don't know whether 7 is there but you want to check. What you say is just type 7 in that numbers, and that's it. When you type this, it will check if 7 is in numbers. If 7 is in numbers, let's say, then it will give me true. If not, it will give me false. So what I'm going to do is let me comment out this. I'll just put a comment here that throw an error. That's it. And now if I run this out, I should get true or false over here, and true, and fair enough, I get a true because 7 is actually in this. What if I were to call in or put some numbers that is non-existent? For instance, let's say I put 12 over here. Clearly 12 is not here. So if I were to run this little fellow, what do I get? I get false. There you go. And that's how you actually figure out if a particular entry is in a set or not. So clearly this is not as convenient as lists in certain regards. In this list you can actually iterate through, get the values through indices and all of that. But in sets, that concept does not exist, right? So you have to access them one by one. Okay, which is actually interesting in its own way, because sets are actually used to build another data type that is available and is very convenient for multiple things called dictionaries. We'll talk about that in the next the video after this, right? And here's the other thing about sets. Let me copy this numbers again. Let's see. Yeah, let me copy this numbers again, and I create a new value called numbers1. And in this time, let me comment this out. Yeah. Okay, and in this one, what I'm going to do, I'm going to repeat the numbers three more numbers like this. Okay, and now if I try to print numbers1, okay, let's just check what it gives us. That's weird. I would have expected that we would have naturally expected that 1, 3 and 5 would have been repeated twice, right? But here they are not, right? Now that's one feature that you have in sets. If you have any particular value that is repeated in sets, they will be considered only once, right? So with this way, if there are any entries that are available in a list, let's say, and you want to simplify it and make sure that they don't repeat multiple times and all of that, sets is a simplified way to go about with it. Take any list, and if there are multiple entries and you just want to convert that into a set of unique values, this works. For instance, what I'm going to do is that let me just say numbers, and let me convert this into a list like this. And then let's say we have to create a set called as unique numbers, and I put this as sets as numbers1. Okay, and now what I do, let me print both unique numbers and check what I get. I get the list with the entries as it is, and I get a set with only these numbers as it is. No repetitions whatsoever. This is actually convenient in this regard, right? And not only that, after this there are a lot more functions that are available in sets that are very, very handy. I'm going to talk to you guys about some of these functions now. In other video, I'll talk more about the other functions that are available. Alright. First thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you guys about how you can add or remove entries from a set. So adding entries to a set. Alright. First thing, let's take this numbers again. Copy this. I'm going to paste it over here. And if you want to add one particular entry, the method that is available in set for this add, and what you do is just pass in the element as it is, right? And maybe let's say I wanted to add say 11 to this set. All I have to do is press 11 and that's it. Let me comment this out. And then if I want to print it, all I have to say is numbers. Alright, and look at the result. There we go. Earlier it was just 1 to 10, now it's 1 to 11, right? Now you might be asking, okay, I can add one entry. What if I had like a ton of entries, maybe 3 or 4 entries? What do I go about with it? For that as well, you have a feature. Just type numbers and then say, what do we call it? Update. The method is called as update, and what you do here, you give the input as a set of the values, like maybe another set or a tuple or a dish or a list, whatever. And now I can add some new numbers like 12, 13, 14, 15 and so on, and I'll do the same thing. I'll print the values again. Alright, and when I run this, there you go. Now I've added now I added more entries in this, like this. Now this can be a list or a tuple or a set. It'll just work just fine. Now that said, now let's actually try to see how to remove data. Removing data is also simple in using sets. Okay, and how do we go about with this? Is that if you want to remove one particular input, all you have to do is use this method remove. So how do you go about with this? Use that put a dot at the end of the set and call the method remove and put in the value that you want, right? So for instance, if you want to put like 15, let's say, if you want to remove 15, you run this and there you go, 15 is removed. Now what if I try to do this again? Okay, now I get an error. It says key error 15. What does it mean? It means that the method tried to remove a value from the set, but that value was non-existent, right? And it threw an error and the program shut down, right? Now there is another way to remove this a little more easily, I mean without much errors. What you can do for that is there's another method called as discard, right? And what it will do, it'll remove it'll check if the element is, entry is present in the set. If present, it will clear it off. Otherwise, it will just say that the element, it will just go out without making any issues. For instance, if I run this, there you go, no errors, no warnings, because discard will not throw an error, whereas remove will throw an error, right? That's the point. You have to use these two based on the importance. If you really want the user to know if there is an error while trying to remove an entry or something like that, use remove. If you don't want the user to get into trouble if the entry is not present or something and you want to remove that, then use discard. So use accordingly. Other than that, if you have different values like this, it'll just work out fine. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to cut it and paste it here. So with using remove, I'm taking 15, and with using discard, I'm taking 13 out. And what do I get? Yeah, I get 13 and 15 out from the set, and there you go, right? And there are like 2 more ways to go about with it. Actually 3 more ways. I'm going to just run this out. If you have numbers like this, and what you can do is you can actually use the pop command to take out pop method to take out the last value and assign it to some other value if you want. For instance, if you run this code right now, check this out. In the earlier stage, it was just 1 to 14, right? And now pop command, what it will do, it will just take out a particular value from it and take it out. And now it returned 1. Weird, I thought it will return 14. Interesting. Pop command will take pop method will actually take out the first value of the set. Usually in list and tuple they'll take the last. Apparently take the first value, and this is something I don't know either. Interesting. Anyway, that's one way to remove. And if you want to clear out the entire thing, let's say there is the other function available. So for instance, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about two methods simultaneously. One is called odd, other one is called del. Using clear method. So if, let's say you have this like odd and even sets over here. Right? So if you want to clear the odd set completely, where wiping out all of it, you can use this. Whereas del command is used to delete the entire set altogether, right? So if we run this, it said even is not even defined, because once you deleted it, even it's not available in the memory anymore, so it's gone. Whereas odd, it just returns an empty set like this, clearly indicating that everything in that value is gone. Well, actually I'll stop here. This itself is like 16 minutes long, and I think there's enough information over here. What I'll do is in the next video I'll talk to you guys about some of the important parts of set operations that are available. Alright, now see you guys in the next video.